Crank up the music. Keep an eye on the back.
This presentation is provided to you to amuse or entertain and not to conform or inform. The content on this channel should not be used to replace professional, financial, medical, or legal advice. All footage taken and used from public sources falls under the Fair Use of the Digital Millennial Copyright Act of 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed. This show is substantially sourced, not affiliated with any community, club, fraternity, or gang. Your cat may vary. Beautiful blonde woman goes to a casino. She looks a little inebriated, and she heads right to the craps table. She places a $20,000 bet on a single roll of the dice. Just before she does it, she says, "I hope you don't mind, but I'm much luckier when I'm completely naked." She takes off all of her clothes, then picks up the dice, throws them, and as soon as they land, she squeals, "I won!" She immediately runs to each of the dealers, hugging them, picks up her winnings, picks up her clothes, and leaves. Finally, one of the dealers looks at the other one and says, "What did she roll?" And the other one says, "I don't know, I thought you were watching."
Satellite tracking continues.
Wow. Wow. Hey, everybody, guess what it is? As Annette says, it's Friday night fun. Whoop, whoop. Friday night. Friday night. Friday night. Where's my camera? Right in my face. Hey. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Everybody, whatever. This is tea in my mug. With my mug, drinking my mug. I have tea. Actually have extra in case I run out of hot tea, so I don't make the silent wife run up and down the stairs all the time. She's been taking very good care of me, I should say, just to let you know. See, the fan man, so stupid. Me, okay? I'm not third person talking. We're not doing that. How's everything? I didn't wear the headphones, so hopefully the audio is good. So let me know. But yeah, so what happened was I came down with a bug, and I tested to see what it was, and it turns out that I have climate change.
That's very true.
Now, hear me out. I know you wanted me to play this. No, I had climate change, so I got sick, and it turned out, I'm saying, because I've doctored myself. Actually, I diagnosed myself, and my wife is my doctor. I'll put that on there. And she treated my climate change. And really what happened is it's been really cold and wet out here in the Pacific Northwest. And the webbing in my toes had grown in just fine over the winter. And so we had about a week worth of really nice, somewhat warm and sunny weather. And so I was in the yard every single day because, you know, I am a farmer. I just do YouTube in the spare time. And and so I went outside and I don't know, I just I got full of climate change. And holy cow, something's going on with my show. That was weird. I'm in the past. It's got a delay. This is bizarre. Hang on a second. Let me shut this off and back on. Test. There. That was weird. I saw myself in slow motion. Never seen that. In live slow motion. Where was I before I went on this wild... so I went outside and we worked a lot. And I don't know. I think it was just because of the change in climate. Came down with a bug. So spent, you know, like you're supposed to spend a few days just resting. And I was being pampered and treated by my loving wife. And she'll pour this glass of something, and it's just like a dark liquid. And I never ask what's in it anymore. But you just get a shot of something next to it. Get some orange juice, get some milk, get something with flavor. And you pound the one thing down, and then you shoot the other one like a chaser. And I do know some of the things she puts in it. Now, we're experimenting on ourselves. Make sure that you just follow all of the government's guidelines and take all the pills and shots that those government people want to send your way. And but here at this house, we don't play that game. We try our own thing, and we're experimenting. And so I do believe, let's see, in this last thing it had, and all of these plants we have growing around, or if you don't, you can find them probably pretty local. She did have some black, what was it? Black sesame seeds or cumin? Black cumin seeds. That we didn't have, and she ordered that. You can get it from the store online or whatever. But I think there was valerian in it. There was catnip in it. There was, what were the other things in there? Oregano and... Oh, and she makes her own lemon vinegar, and it's so easy to make your own vinegars. It's so easy to make your own alcohols. And so lemon vinegar, you can actually use the lemon and take the rind and everything, the meat that's left in it, and throw them into a jar and add some water and top it off with a little sugar and let it ferment, and you get lemon vinegar. And apple cider vinegar, if you have some in your house, you can do a shot of that, maybe a little hot water and honey to help it go down. But that's really good too, at least in this house for colds. I don't recommend, don't experiment unless you've gotten your doctor's note. So, and then, of course, I had time and I went into my computer and there was obviously a virus of some kind throughout my channel, and I got rid of all that. And so hopefully comments and everything will still be showing up, because we were having problems with that, but I think that's all over. And so, so I'm on the mend. And I thought, instead of wearing, like everyone, it seems like on YouTube, they look like they're auditioning for the Unabombers. Everyone's in like sweatshirts and hoodies. And so, but I just wasn't quite feeling, I didn't really even shave. I apologize, and put on this thing and went old school so I could promote my channel, self-promotion. So, how's everyone doing? That was quite a talk. Let's transition, see what's going on. So, oh, you can see your life slow motion before you, huh, Cinch? Let's see. Yeah, it was spring body cleaning. Exactly. Yeah, it is. And you had some climate change there too. That's too bad. I'm sorry. Let's see. And you're not supposed to catch it. Well, I don't think they have come up with a vaccine for climate change yet, but we'll keep waiting. We'll keep waiting. So, okay, let's scroll back down. Let's get this thing off of the screen. I'm sure you've all read it by now. There we go. Okay, what's next? Where do we start, everyone? It's been quite a week. I've got 1,000 tabs, blah, blah, blah. Where should we go? Oh, and I do want to talk about the picture here. I'll go off screen for a second. So that goes along with my idea of needing a hug. And I will get to the onion ring in the fry box. So we will get there. But let's not start there. Where should we start? Well, we'll just go with the first tab and see what comes up here. So let me click over here. Oh, I still have that. Okay, we've got that. So let's get over here. Talk amongst yourself. We'll be right there, people. Okay, we can cover that too. We didn't really cover that. So, I know what we should talk about first. So for those of you that were here last week or attempted to be here and I wasn't, basically this is the breakdown, the way it's going, is doing this show every single week, once a week, although it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's time consuming, the research and putting the videos together and stuff. And I've bitched and moaned about it. I get it. But rather than just stop the show or just occasionally do it, for now I'm trying this system. I'll be here every other Friday. And then like last week, I popped over on Jen and Chapu's show, because it was either that or I had no show and I just wouldn't be on. And so it was a way for like the people that like to watch me, I could go over there. They have a fun show. I do enjoy it, and that's why I like going on it. And I can comment and make silly jokes and stuff like I'm known to do. But also, I don't have to prepare as much for that kind of show. And so I can do everything that I need to do in my real life here and still maintain a presence for you all here. And so for now, it's all in flux. This is the first time we've done it, and we'll see how it goes next week too. But for right now, that's what we're doing. And so if you didn't see me here last Friday, I put up a little trailer video to send you over to Jen's channel, and we did a little show over there. So we'll be here this week. We're here. And then next week, oh my God, why are you guys watching this show? I don't even understand it.
I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go.
Okay, so we'll be here this week, tonight, and then next week, God willing, I'll show up over on Jen's channel. And then, if I ever do anything else in between, just keep an eye out for things. I don't know what to tell you. So, so that's where we're at as far as the show goes. And where should we start? I was going to put, I need to move that. Hold the phone. That's got to go over here. That got all mixed up there. Goes there. How about, does it go here? My dogs are out there getting something. Okay, we'll put that there. So where do I want to go? I want to start somewhere. Somewhere here, somewhere here. No, not there. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? We'll go after that. And those three things. Sorry, I'm sorry. I thought I had it all set up, but it's obviously not. Okay. We'll go with that one. We'll start with that one. Okay. So what we're going to do is, first I got to find you all. There you are. We'll go clickety-click here. Wow, it's getting warm up here. I'm going to have to, let me open a window here. Hang on a second. Now, this is some entertainment now. Let's see. Got to open the window. Not fall over. Ugh. Whew. It's hot up here. It is. Yeah. Well, it is right above the fireplace, so it's getting warm. Or maybe my climate change is coming back. Who knows? Okay, so we were going to go clickety-click here and there and here and here. Audio and there. Okay, where are you? I think it's this one. Okay, so this is cool. So I don't know if y'all saw this, but they're pushing this whole, first they're pushing the whole chatbot thing, and now they're definitely pushing the AI generated photos. And my point on this one is not that, you're going to get tricked by this photo of the Pope in a Puff Daddy jacket, but they're saying that AI is getting so good that it's fooling people. Now, I did not buy into this. I'm assuming most don't, but the fact that they're saying a lot of people are, they're just trying to convince people in the ether, whatever you want to call it, that AI is getting so incredibly smart and intelligent that we'll never be able to distinguish the two. And I believe that will be, I think they have the technology now, but just like Apple, that's a slow roll and they're slowly introducing us into this. My concern is that these fake pictures, as the generations continue, they're going to start to end up in our history books and people will start believing them. We covered it last week about how, by the way, for those of you that don't know, that still think that the Pope is playing for, say, God's side, just remember this is where he preaches from this crazy demonic snake lizard-like statue that's supposedly representation of Armageddon or some disgustingness. So, and the entire building is a snake's head and all kinds of things. That's going way back in my beginning awakenings. But yeah, he's playing for the wrong team. So, but we talked about it last week about when Trump, they had this one that was not him being arrested, but it started making the scene. And then I started watching. I mean, this entire page is fakes of Trump getting arrested, going to trial or whatever. And at some point, I know a lot of these look ridiculous, but at some point, if you black and whited these pictures and you put them in a history book, and a lot of history books, they actually have drawings, right? They don't even use photos. So just saying, it's going to be real easy. That one's kind of funny. It's going to be, this one's funny too. It's going to be real easy to fake these things to the next generation. And the interesting thing about this too, by the way, this whole way this plays out, the only person, well, of course, now he got indicted, I guess, today, which is another just magician's trick. We'll go over that if we have to. But the thing is what was I going to say on this? Is that, the only person that was saying he was going to get arrested this day when these pictures came out was him. He was saying he was going to get arrested. And then what happened? We should clear some of these, or I'm going to have never-ending tabs. Then what happened when he said he was going to get arrested? His fans sent him $1.5 million in 3 days because he needs it, right? It's fascinating what people will do with their money. And whether you like the guy or not, does he need that $1.5 million for what? I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. Just like that the young man, the man, whatever, the football player that recently everyone still thinks he died in the field, but he was okay and he's in the hospital. And a bunch of people sent him money, and it's fine. That's great, but he's making millions of dollars, and the football NFL, I'm sure, will pay for everything. But hey, it's just find it fascinating, the world that we live in. And for those that are still playing Q, I'd tell you, they're all excited. I don't know why, but something here, he tweeted something and he wrote this in all caps. And because that's in all caps, it connects to this one in all caps from, 10 years ago. And so now I like the reactions. So, oh my God, it's happening. What's happening? Nothing. So, excuse me. There goes my climate change. So, yeah. And where's our guy? He's in here somewhere. There.
That's very true. Very true.
Oh, but guess what? Where's my guy?
That's it. I don't care.
Dang it. Okay. Where are we at? We were somewhere here. Shoot, we got lost. All right. Let me stop for a second. Let me find it again. It's not there. It's not there. That's space. No, that's not right. Did we lose it all? We lost you. No, we didn't. It's got to be right there. No. Hang on. Maybe that's it. I guess I covered. No. Okay. We were covering it. We didn't get that far. That's what it was. It's right there. Here we go. Let me go back. Where are you all? You're on this one. Click here. Sorry, a little bit slower tonight because I'm kind of ready to pass out from the heat and the climate change illness, but we'll make it through. We're gonna make it. On your mark, get set, and go now. Got a dream, and we just know now. I can't find where I was, hopelessly lost. There it is, this tab. Okay, so yeah, so that's what's happening. Absolutely nothing. And I wanted to show this because not only are they faking photos, but we really have to be diligent even on the internet. So this thing, I won't play the sound. This thing is this car that comes and crashes, and a cop's chasing it. And it goes over the highway, crashes over, and then, of course, the cop's not going that way, and he takes off and goes the opposite way. Okay. Amazing video. Completely fake. The road is real, but these cars are added in through CGI. Footage most likely courtesy of NASA. But you can see how easy it can be to fake someone with this kind of footage. So that's the world we're living in. Hollywood is literally becoming right in the palm of your hand soon. So that's why I wanted to show that clip. Oh, we can't do that without doing scary space news. So we need to get out of this screen share somehow. Where are you all? You're over here. Okay. Let's see. We need more tea. So, how's everyone doing? Doing good? Nice. And with all this talk about Trump being indicted now and potentially going to go to court or something in a week, and I mean, it's so reminiscent of what we've been through before. And if you've seen my two versions, I have Yellowstone 1, which is Trump versus Hillary. But I think the Yellowstone Part 2 is extremely current right now. What do you all think?
The ceiling fans? They're very attractive.
Coming soon to wherever your televised vision plays your programming. It's the new series, Yellowstone Part Ducks. It's the story of a family, a very corrupt family, a son and his kind of dimensioned father, and they're always fighting. Both of them are confused, and we're confused. The father says, I found stuff in your house shouldn't be there. I'm putting you in jail. And the son says, oh yeah? Well, I found even more stuff in a bunch of your places and I'm going to put you in jail.
But the thing is, neither one of them know. They're just puppets to the real master. No, the real master. And so, they all play their part. Who will win? Well, he doesn't know. Coming soon to the television near you. Yellowstone. Part ducks.
Satellite tracking continues.
Right? I should make a part 3 and put what's her name? Stormy here, right? Make a part 3. Isn't she like coming back? We'll see. I still have most of the video. Reuse it again. That's all Hollywood does. Give us the same freaking movie over and over. So ridiculous. Okay. What's next? Where are we? We covered enough of the Trump stuff. Let's cover way over on the far end of the tabs and see what we got there. Go way over to the far left. Got something from Clown Planet. I just, excuse me. Sorry about that, everyone. I just thought I'd cover the ones that he put together. I've gone through before and double checked his, make sure that they're actual, quote, real articles and not like Onion News. But everything nowadays is the Onion News. There's no difference. Just like Captain Kirk says, the difference between space and science fiction, there's no difference, science and science fiction. And so they're trying to conserve swimming for, I don't even understand. But none of these, if you do understand them, then I think you're on the wrong channel if you understand these. Sniffing other people's sweat can help treat social anxiety, studies suggest. Who was in that study? That is a really vile study. Yeah, we'd like to pay you $50, and we need you to sniff people's armpits. Nice. Now, did they do like just one race? Did they do different ones? Did they do different ages? Did they do after you've done like basketball versus after you've done golf or after you've worked in the yard? I'm just curious. I'm actually not that curious. It's pretty gross. And this, of course, I'm sure is true. Men look more masculine when they wear makeup. Studies show. Who's funding these? Well, we're probably funding these, but who's actually doing these studies? Come on. Seriously. What is this Gary Glitter? Then we've got national security is under threat. Oh, that's why I got sick. See? This is a real story. I'm telling you, it's coming our way. Council's chiefs covered up the data that could put climate zones into jeopardy. I don't even know what that means and not even care. What's the next one? This daughter had to move schools. Oh, okay, whatever. There's a lot of OnlyFans discussions. This is ridiculous. And the funny thing about this was when I read this headline, the couple who opened their 11-year marriage to a divorced father so they could grow emotionally. Okay, here's my question. Not that that's ridiculous and stupid, but which one now in our society, she's holding his hand and put her arm around this guy. So I won't ask you to actually have to come up with the answer, but dear chat, tell me, which one is the father, the divorced father, and which one is the husband? See, we might not ever know. It's like the center of a Tootsie Pop, but we might not ever care. Just bite it anyways and you get to the beginning. ABBA fans are banned from wearing culturally insensitive afro wigs at the band show, which I find fantastic because they're known for wearing them, and now you can't come there dressed as them. Isn't that wonderful? I love this This new world order that we live in is just beautiful. Mississippi anchors taken off of air after quoting Snoop Dogg during a broadcast. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. But if I can find it, I'll gladly bring that to you, because to hear her quote something, I'm sure would be just beautiful. And what do we have here? French couple enjoy a glass of red wine as the streets burn behind them. I think that's a poem or a movie in France, I believe. I'm not quite sure. But anyways, that's from Clown Planet, Carl Vernon. Enjoy his stuff. So we'll get rid of that. What's this? Oh, this I found fascinating. Now, again, if I show a video on here, it's just that one video. Doesn't mean I'm rubber stamping a whole channel. I don't know. I don't watch everyone's stuff. But this End Times production, and I'll throw this in the clickety-click links. Where are you at? You're over here. Where's your chat? Hi, everybody. New comments. Do shizzle my nizzle, she said. Is that what she said, Gonabel? That's funny. Gonabel says, she said, do shizzle my nizzle. Sorry. Faux shizzle my nizzle. Is that what she said? That's funny. We'll look for that. And then who's over on Rockfish? How you doing? We got Trevor over there. Hi, Trevor. Oh, is that Trevor from my emails? Hey, Trevor. And I keep forgetting I have a list here that let me stop this here. I want to thank, Trevor and Terry, they send me all kinds of stuff. So, and Big Bear, I always mix up your name, and Heather is always on Rockfin, and anybody else that I forget that sends me things and articles and stuff. Thank you all. I know Melody's on that list, and DJ, and it's a good list. It's not a naughty list. So, but yeah, so let's see. Where were we? Okay. We were doing this. We were on End Times production thing. So this came out because, because we're close to End Times. That's why I think. But it's about this the tornado, he says, that changed the world. And he goes into this massive storm that, of course, they all occur in the early 1800s. And you can read it where it's like a pack of wolves and started to howl and the whole world's torn apart. And it's only 10 minutes. It's a pretty good video. But basically what happens is it was in I think it's the war, British. This is the 1812 one. I'm sorry. I should have done a little more homework. But there was a huge, crazy tornado storm with 12-foot waves that really churned up and destroyed the British fleets. Before they were able to, the War of 1812. And it had a major setback because it damaged a lot of their fleets and made them so they couldn't do a full-scale launch. And they actually eventually get to DC and they start doing their stuff, burning the city and stuff. But what happens is, according to George Cockburn, I didn't say that they are. Well, I said it, but they wrote it from the National Archives, is that this storm came down, not only decimated them there, but then when they made land,
seeing what appeared to be a tornado aside.
So it was another one that hit. So basically, it was like three monstrous tornadoes.
The winds tore the roofs off at the General Post Office and the Patent Office buildings. Trees were uprooted, many buildings were damaged and destroyed. And while this was happening, the torrential rain was putting out the fires that the British lit the night before.
Okay, so according to the narrative, it was this tornado storm. But again, we're back in the same time frame when these monstrous events happened all over the world. And so this event is happening in this old world city of DC. And when you see the pictures and the descriptions, they literally say things like it was like a hand was picking things up and throwing it around.
Moment in the history of the United States, but also a reminder of the power of nature,
power of
and how
God.
These natural events can change the course of history forever. Just think about it. What would happen if these two tornadoes never happened? Would the
So they say it saved DC. I thought this was an interesting picture with the Osiris penis going into the storm. But yeah, so apparently there was like three.
Wrote this about the matter in the Smithsonian Magazine. Quote, on the night of August 24th, 1814, British troops led by Rear Admiral Sir George Cockburn marched on Washington, D.C. and
Let's see, where is it?
the occupation lasted just 26 hours. What happened? Current Washingtonians will recognize this scenario as we've had a wild summer of heavy heat and damaging storms.
And so they just went in and still tried to set fire to the city, but at the same time, the storm got so intense that you heard and read what it did, and flying debris, and so it won the war supposedly for DC, but at the same time, I mean, it was left in destruction from the war and from the tornadoes supposedly, although they can't explain. They've never seen this kind of tornado situation really ever since or before.
Both of these events, one in the nighttime and then one the next day, you can see how this event can be classified as strange. In fact, the show Ancient Aliens even did a little segment on this event and suggested that it was UFOs and aliens that caused the tornadoes in order for America to become what it is today. But
now, we know we believe about aliens, so that'd be demons or whatever. So who knows? Because they did want to prop up America to be whatever we have become. And we've definitely become it. If we're not Mystery Babylon, we sure taught her how to be. So, but interesting thing about this, about how these crazy storms came about. And it got me thinking about some of the things that I've been looking into and covering. You know, if we are in what I believe like towards the end times situation, then we're going to see more stuff happening. And, you know, this is not the first, second, or this is probably the third. I don't know how many. Here's another story about dead fish. This one is Australian, mate. It's not Foster's, but it's Australian, and millions of dead fish. We covered one like a week or so ago. So, but this article then made me start looking into another. Oh, wait, not that one. That's cool, though. This guy is supposedly the world's oldest terrarium, sealed, that hasn't been watered since 1972. And no, his name isn't God, but it's an interesting idea. Let's come back to that in a second. But I started looking into this because after the Turkey earthquake hit, this video appeared online, but it's hard to find now. Where is it? I found it here. I think I had it queued up, as they say. Yeah, let's put it there. And this was bubbling out of the ground in Turkey after their earthquake. No one explained what it was to this day. I mean, there's always theories and conjectures, but it got me thinking that in the end times, it talks a lot about things like blood in the oceans and blood in the ground and whatever, rivers of blood and stuff. And so I thought about this. There's a lot of discussion in the scriptures about blood, and also from the other side, you know, people that the vampirism, drink blood, adrenochrome, whatever. God's very specific. He tells you not to mess with it. He doesn't want you drinking it. Doesn't really want you touching it. He doesn't want you messing with blood. And so when I was reading the books, or I listened to, I should say, the books of Adam and Eve, and you can listen to them online. That one guy, Christopher Glynn, has a really good version. But in it, it talks about the death with Cain and Abel. And for those of you that aren't too familiar with the story, so basically there's two kids. There's Cain and Abel. And Cain, he's the farmer, and Abel is the herder. And so they both decide, or somehow it comes about, that they're going to give an offering, a sacrifice, because Adam set that up way back when he was in the cave doing sacrifices, trying to get back home is what he was trying to do, and praising God. And but when Jesus shows up, he's the final sacrifice. We don't do that anymore. So, but they both have their sacrifices, and so Abel sacrifices his prize animal, the best of the flock, And why do you wonder why would God want you to burn that flesh and let me smell it? No, that's not the idea. You can't give God anything. Everything you have was given to you from God. It'd literally be like if this is my shampoo blend. My wife makes this for my pipe. So it'd be like if I said, here's a present, and I gave it to you, and then you turned around and said, oh, I got a present for you, and you gave it back. You can't give me the present I already gave you. You can't give a gift to God. All gifts come from God. All blessings. The onion ring and the fries. Come on. Now, maybe there's people that don't like onion rings. So just go like this for a second. But for those of us that do, when you get that, well, I don't do the fast food anymore, but when you get that fry box and all of a sudden you'd pull out that one lone onion ring, it'd make you smile, make you happy, right? You beat the system. You got that golden extra charge onion ring and no one sees you and you can eat it, right? It's exciting. It's fun. That's a blessing. And that's my idea behind this whole blessing, right? We can cover that for a second right now. I started thinking about it, do you need a hug? It's the one thing that we can't do ourselves, right? You can do everything else on your own, but you can't hug. You need someone else for that, to get and receive a hug. And so when I connected that to God, He's hugging us. I can't feel it physically. So what do? I have to sit. And what does He tell you to do? To be still and listen. And you look around and He's hugging you all the time. And I know there's people suffering and stuff, but you're alive. That's a blessing. Hopefully you had food and a place to sleep. That's a blessing. Constantly. That onion ring in your box, that was a blessing. That dollar bill or whatever you found on the ground, that was your blessing. Not so much of a blessing for someone else, but that was a lesson for them, probably, somehow. I don't know. I don't know how He works. Ask Job. He couldn't figure it out either. And so the things that I talk about on here, I'm not lamenting and trying to tell people you need to do this or no, I'm trying to tell you the things that I'm working through in my head. And the more I start looking into certain things and they help me, well, those are the things I'm going to share, make sure and let you all know. And so the more I find that I do appreciate even the little things, the closer my walk with God is becoming. It's really fascinating and fun, and it's nothing that you can't do yourself. I'm not special at all. I'm equally special as you are. In God's eyes, we're all equal and we're all special. And all you got to do is ask for that relationship. That's all I did. It was shockingly easy. It was hard to actually ask because you feel you're not worthy for it. Well, then when you ask, He's like, "What took you so long? I knew who you are. I was ready for you now." I mean, don't forget, no matter what you're going through, you feel that you're not worthy for this, that, and the other. Moses straight up killed a guy, and look what he did. There's a lot of people throughout history that have done. I mean, look what Paul did, and he would persecute and kill the Christians, and then he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, and his whole life changed, and he wrote a whole bunch of the books. So I guess what I would also say at this time, why don't we throw a prayer in here? And Father, please watch over all of us in this time. We thank You for all of our blessings. Continue to guide us and open our eyes to more each and every day. And if we're suffering right now, help us, Father. Help us get through it. Help us get around it, or pick us up and walk us through it. We need You right now more than ever, Father. Help us heal. Help us find comfort. Help us with the wisdom. Help us with the patience and the forgiveness that we are asking to You have for us. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right, so there's our blessing prayer, I guess. Now what do we got? Okay, what should we cover? Where were we? We're over here. We were going the rivers of blood. Oh, my theory on that. Okay. So you got Cain and Abel. So Abel, God accepts his offering, because why does God want a sacrifice? You can't give him anything. We already covered that. But you can show how much you care by taking some possession of yours that's incredibly important and saying, no, I'm just going to give that away. I'm not going to ask for any money for it. I'm not going to get anything from it. I'm just going to part with it. And literally for them, burn it up as an offering to show how much they loved God. That's what I see in the offering. And then, what does Cain do? He takes like yesterday's harvest or whatever and says, I'm just going to burn it. What does it matter? Like, he didn't like this whole burning and offering and any of this stuff. And so he gives him this, crappy offering. And of course, God rejects it. So now Cain is really pissed off at his brother. And then you can continue on in the stories there, the Adam and Eve thing, where he talks about how, Satan then starts bending his ear and saying, there's only two sisters here. There's a pretty one and an ugly one. Since your brother came out first, he's going to get the pretty one. You're going to get the ugly one. I'm not making this up. These are in those stories. Now, you can, discuss whether or not they're part of the canon or what, but they're in there. And so he eventually tweaks him enough to where, of course, we know the story, he kills him. But the interesting part about that is, according to the stories, when Cain tried to bury his brother into the earth to hide him, like you could do that from God, the earth spit him up. I believe they do it 2 or 3 times before it finally stays. And then what happens? God comes to talk to Cain, because why? Because he says, your brother's blood cries out from me. So the minute the blood started getting into the earth, I think I'm making this all up in my head, but so does everyone else on YouTube. And maybe that's partly why the earth is corrupted, because in the end times, when God cleans house, these bodies that we're in pass away, but so does the earth and the heavens. Like, he makes all new. And so maybe that death, that blood, that corruption is partly what's creating that situation. Because there is talk in the end times, there's dead fish in the sea, there's dead animals, there's rivers of blood. And that's why I was covering this. So far I've shown you that there was the rivers of blood in, Turkey. Come on. Now what's going on? This one was in Russia. And in Russia, this one was 2020. But there's 2 rivers here. And then they talk about how it's happened, I think, 1 or 2 other times prior to that. Yeah, not the first time, and earlier this year and so forth. So there's a few in Russia. Then this one is in, this is also Russia, but this one was in 2016. So that's a different year. Duh. And then you got this one. That's the same one. That's in Siberia. Okay. Same. But then you got this one, which in 2018, blood rained down from the sky. And most of these, they don't have a reason, or they come up with something. This one, they said there was some kind of machine plant nearby. And hang on, I got a cough. Turn that mic off. You probably got it on that one. And there was a storm and rust particles and nonsense. Then when you get this, give me a break. That's a lot. I don't know what he's saying here. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, that's yeah. So red rain, just like Peter Gabriel says, coming down. So we had that, and then what happened to all my tabs? They're reloading. Waiting for Google. There we go. Then there's the Ukrainian river that turned blood red, and that was after the missiles struck a reservoir in central Ukraine, and that was just in September. Then you got this one that in Indonesia that in 2017. And like I said, a lot of these, they're not even sure. They come up with conjectures, but some of them don't know. This is a different one in 2021 in Indonesia also. Then you've got, now this one in New Jersey, someone dumped dye supposedly into the water system. Now, the question on this is, did they get in trouble? There's no mention if they got fined or anything. I mean, if you were to dump a can of paint into a river, I'm sure there's a hefty fine and you jail time. I don't know. But yeah, they said that the red dye will clear in 20 to 48 hours. Don't worry. So there's that. That one, that was New Jersey. And then you got in Kansas, they purposely poured in red dye and took credit for it. But again, they're like, it's a bright red fluorescent dye in the Kansas River. Anyways, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry. Like, if we did that, it would be fine. Not that I would. Then you got the Arctic ones where they're finally discovered what they think caused they think, they don't know, this blood in Antarctica. And in addition to that little trickle, I found this article about the rivers and in Antarctica, and they're turning blood red. So you got that, or Arctic rivers, wherever this one is, somewhere in that area. The Arctic Circle. Then you've got, this was in Canada, and that one was, when was that one? March of 2020. Then you got this one here in the French River. We turned to red also. And that one was in 2017. Then you got this one in, this one is, Gemma Clark was out and caught this at Dunnockshaw Farm in Burnley. And of course, those of us in America, we have no idea where that is. So I did the nice thing and showed you exactly where that is, because you don't want to get in trouble. You never say someone's from London if they're from Manchester or Liverpool or Wales, definitely. So, yeah, so this is somewhere in this area, Dunnockshaw in the UK. There's that. Shout out to Marty. Sorry I ever made that mistake. Okay, what do you got here next? This is, my tabs are reloading. I think when I had that, when I was in slow motion, something went down on all my tabs here. Let's see if we can fix that. We'll go through them real quick. Dink. Covered that one. Okay, I've got that. I think the rest of them are okay. All right, let's go back. Dink. Dink. What's that? Let's see. How do we get back? Where are you guys? You guys are over here. I'll get rid of that. And go back here. Clickety click. Clickety click. And let's get back to the rivers of blood, man. Okay, so the rivers of blood. So we got this one. Where was this? St. Mary's. I believe that was Jamaica, if I'm correct. What's next? And then this one is Israel. Of course, they weren't to be outdone. And so what else do you have? Then you've got China. And they had a few different times. It seems like their river goes red all the freaking time. So this one was in whatever the year that was. And this is a different year, 2014. That one was either before or after. I already clicked it, sorry. And let's see. And this one was in an island near Greece, near Crete. So there's that one. And I mean, it's just on and on and on. I get tired of looking, but it's fine, right? This is fine. I like that little guy. So is that it? I think that's it. Okay. Well, let's. Oh, and this, anybody that's watching that new show, This Is Us, is that what it's called? It's about a super fungus that turns everyone into like Last of Us. Thank you, silent wife. Last of Us. Now everyone turns into like weird fungus head creatures, And then at the same time, they're showing us these cartoons of what looks like eggs with nipples. And it's the super fungus that's now found in half of the U.S. states. Coming soon to a theater near you. So watch out for that. What's it called? Called Candida auris. So, and I probably just did a spell. Get thee behind me, Satan. In the name of Jesus. In case that was a spell. So what's next? Let's get rid of that. Oh, this one, you know what? If you're watching, Aaron, she sent me a thing and it was kind of interesting. I'm not big on I don't know the book of Jasher. I haven't read it. It's one of those extra books like the Adam and Eve books and some of these other ones. But a lot of people have looked into it. But I found this was very interesting. She pointed out this passage. And basically it's where do I start? This is about the Pharaoh, and it's in the day of Moses, just prior to. And I found it interesting because in this story, the Pharaoh, he goes and he seeks counsel. Where is it? Rule the Midianite and Job, the whatever. And he told him this dream that he had. And basically it troubled him. And so, where is it? It comes to somewhere in here. Let's see. Where is it? So he asks advice on what he should do to this dream that troubles him. And here it says, the king says to Job, so what do you say? And what's your advice? And Job says to the king, behold, all the inhabitants of the land are in thy power. Let the king do as it seemed good in his eyes. In other words, I'm out. I ain't getting involved in this at all. Okay. That's what I hear. So then he goes, and it's interesting. He talks to a guy named Balaam, which is very close to the way like to talk about Baal and stuff. And one of the things that God calls out in the Bible for killing babies. Okay. Moloch is another name. Abortions is another. But that's what God talks about in the Bible. So he goes, and Job doesn't give him any help. So, because he's not going down with this ship. And so the king goes to Balaam. And what does he say? He says, well, here's what I think. Where is it? If you think to lessen them by the flaming fire, he's talking about, the chosen ones at the time that are encompassing them. What happened was you go way back and they got brought into that land because of Joseph. And we can cover that story. It's a fascinating story. It's one of my favorites. And but because of him, there's a whole bunch of Israelites now living in Babylon or wherever they were in Egypt with the Pharaoh and all them dudes in the cool robes and stuff. And so the new Pharaoh doesn't have any agreement with them. And people are starting to think that they're outnumbering the Egyptians and they're going to take them over and they're going to, they'll just take over. And so they come up with ways they think they want to enslave them and things like that. So it's during this time that this plan comes about, and apparently by book of Jasher, Balaam says, you cannot prevail over them, for surely God delivered Abraham their father, and if thou thinkest to destroy them with a sword, surely Isaac their father was delivered for it, and a ram was placed in his stead. So in other words, you're not going to beat these guys down fighting them because God's on their side. We've tried and it's not going to work. And so he says finally this, therefore, O king, hear my words. So this counsel is counsel. No, that's not it. He says, if it please the king, let him order all their children which shall be born from this day forward to be thrown into the water, and that so you can wipe away their name, for none of them nor their fathers were tried in this manner. And so he's the one apparently that came up with the brilliant idea of tossing everybody in the brink, tossing the babies away. Which is why you get to the story of Moses when she takes the baby and puts him in the, well, it used to be, what do you call it, in the bramble bushes, I think it's called, and she used to put him in a basket, but that's now been quantum affected, and now he's in an ark, a little mini ark. She sat there and fastened one together, I guess, and so, but that goes along with the stories that's what they were doing. They were trying to squash this, and God had a plan for Moses, and we all know how that worked out. And so, so let's see. And the king heard the words of Balaam and did the thing, the please, and he did the word according to that. And then all the children were then thrown in the water. It's really sad. It really is sad what they did, because they did it when they were looking for Jesus too. They killed a lot of babies, and we don't think about the heartache that was going up in those days, because for Jesus to survive, a lot of babies died, and for Moses to survive, a lot of babies died, and so then they go into that whole question: why do good things happen to bad people, and why do babies die? You know, my son asked me that when I was doing my journey and trying to understand this, and I said, you know, I don't know if I'll ever have the exact answer, but the best I can think is, now that I know when I die, God takes you home. And so he must have had a reason, or maybe that soul was perfect, or maybe that baby was part of the 144,000 that are supposed to be taken. Well, we don't know. Again, you can read the book of Job. It's probably one of the best books in the Bible. And the best part, spoiler alert, is when Job and his friends are trying to figure out how God's plan. And he finally comes down and he's just like, he gives Job the smackdown, and he names off all these different things that Job doesn't know, like how anything works, you know, or how the wind, where it goes, or where's the night and day when in darkness. He asks him all kinds of questions none of us can answer. And when he got done asking his questions, Job literally just covered his mouth, and then he starts talking about, I'm sorry, I'm a worm, and that was stupid of me, and forgive me, that kind of thing. Because we really don't, you know, and none of us that I know of have been face to face with God, because apparently it's pretty terrifying. I'll tell you something I will mention is when you do get saved, you have an experience. And I've really never talked about mine too much, but each and every one of us has an experience. Mine was unbelievable, unexplainable, and it'll forever lock me into my faith. It has nothing to do with a book or a YouTube video or anything. I had an experience, and there was a moment in my experience when I was given the position to ask any question that I wanted at that moment, anything I wanted to answer. And I know that I would have known he would have told me the answer. And I literally was speechless. If you ever get into a moment where you feel that you're in the presence of God, all your questions just vanish. At least it did for me. I mean, I have lots of questions now, but in that exact moment when I felt his presence, nah, there's nothing coming out. It's nothing. Maybe I'll go over it one day too in here, but I don't know. A lot of ridicule on YouTube, so I keep some things private. But let's go back to this. So he says here, where is it? So they're throwing the children in the river. It's terrible. When the children of Israel heard this thing, the Pharaoh commanded to cast them in the river. Some people separated their wives and others adhered to them. And then it says, and from that day forward, when the time of delivery arrived, those women of Israel who had remained with their husbands, they went into the field and brought forth there. They brought forth in the field and left their children upon the field and returned home. And this gets interesting. The Lord, who had sworn to their ancestors to multiply them, sent one of his ministering angels to wash each child with water, anoint it and swathe it, and put two stones in its hands, from one which had sucked milk and the other from honey. And he caused, this I don't quite understand what's going on here. He caused hair to grow its knees, by which it might cover itself, to comfort and cleave to it through his compassion for it. I'm not sure what they're talking about there, if the knees and the stuff are the rocks or it came out of the kids. I'm not sure. Like I said, I just looked at this book today because of Aaron. And And then it says God had compassion over him, and he ordered the earth to receive them to be preserved until the time of their growing up, after which the earth opened its mouth and vomited them forth. Sounds kind of gross. And they sprouted. But see, that's what also in the book of Adam and Eve, when I was telling you when the earth vomited out the body. So interesting. But he vomited them forth, and they sprouted from the city like the herb of the earth, the grass of the forest, and they returned each to his family and his father's house, and they remained with them. And and I like this too. It talks about and the babes of the children of Israel upon the earth like the herbs of the field through God's grace to them. And when the Egyptians saw this, they went forth each to his field with his yoke and oxen and his plowshare, and they plowed it up as one of the plows of the earth to seed at that time. And when they plowed, they were unable to hurt the infants or the children of Israel, so the people increased and waxed exceedingly. And this lines up at least the story with all this stuff that I know Jen and other people have covered, Martin stuff, about all these postcards with Cabbage Patch children. And so it was Aaron's idea, and it seems to match up. Like I said, I'm new to the book of Jasher, but it definitely would make sense as to why they were making these, probably somehow connecting it to this story. So there, that's my version of what was presented to me. And this, about this guy, to me, this is interesting because isn't this a way of thinking? Let's say this was Earth and this was the firmament dome around it and it's sealed off and yet it's self-sustaining. He's never added water. It grows perfectly. And that's the whole idea. Same thing with if we have energy never leaves. It always goes somewhere. And so, I don't know, it's just an idea. I like thinking of, rather than people thinking that God's this horrible person, we're trapped in this fishbowl. What if we're just in God's terrarium and he loves us so much, just like this little man does with his stuff? So anyways, that's my idea. Okay, what's next? This was another story got sent to me. Disney decides steps to Santa's board with royal claws. This one's fantastic. So apparently, the article goes, this guy, which seems like another orange man, right? Why is he orange? He's just like Trump. He's now more orange than Trump. Look, there's Trump, and there's DeSantis. Maybe that's just the look for the Republicans. Yeah, he's orange. You should check it out. He's totally orange. I think he's orange. And so anyway, so I'll give you the short versions. You have to read all this. It's just ridiculous. But Disney used to run all of their, they ran their own district for half a century. And then the Florida legislatures got mad because Disney was pushing something about sex education for children in the schools, like 9 and under. And this Orange Man Part 2 doesn't like that. And so they revoked this thing that they had going with Disney. Okay. But so what did they do? It's an all agreement signed between Disney and district. Let's see. Anyways, they revoked it. And Disney used to oversee it. And now the governor, he wants to pick his own board to oversee the 27,000 acres. So what did they do? They called on the power of Prince Charles, and they went with what is it called? It's is it on here? The Royal Clause. Isn't that funny? The Royal Clause. So yeah, it basically says that we're England, we can do whatever we want and screw you, kind of. And so it overturned it, and they're fighting this out. And yeah, so that's what's going on right now. I thought that was interesting, and he should get that looked at. I don't know what that is, but yeah. And he's really proud that he's related to Vlad the Impaler, the original Dracula. So there's that. Remember what I told you about God said about blood? Be careful. If you drink it, you'll end up looking like this guy. Okay, so that was that. Oh, and this one I want to talk really quick, and then I'll stop talking for a minute and check out the chat. Red flag law, for those of you playing along, that one came out, and that basically gives them all kinds of power, specifically in the red states, to decide if you're deemed dangerous, where they can take your guns and do whatever they want, basically, under the red flag law. Then, in addition to that, we had the Patriot Act, which is, even more surveillance and wired, all kind of counter anything they want to do in the name of patriotism, America. Now they got the new one, which is called the Restrict Act, which a lot of people are just talking like it's about TikTok, but you really should read into it, because it is a way more broad-reaching than that. This guy had the best breakdown.
Federal government the power to monitor any activity.
Oh, why is he talking so fast? Because you put him on fast speed. Put him on slow speed. Be the opposite.
Power to monitor any activity used by these suspected devices, virtual or otherwise. Essentially, they can monitor what you are doing at home 24/7 without even informing you. This includes things such as routers, video games, streaming apps, smart thermostats, Ring cameras, basically anything that uses the internet. Now, the real terrifying part.
Yeah, like that's not terrifying. But let's get to the real terrifying
part of all of this, as if that all wasn't terrifying enough, is that the bill goes on to state that this will happen by the president appointing a secretary of communication. That secretary then forms a group on their own without any voter input whatsoever.
What could possibly go wrong?
This group can have meetings behind closed doors. They don't have to disclose anything.
Good.
They can ban and deem anything
all
inappropriate
dangerous.
Or a risk to security
Save me,
at
government.
any moment in time. And if they do,
Yeah.
they can go through your instant messages, your...
Oh, he stopped talking. But you get the point. Your emails, your texts. Unless you're Hillary, then they'll never find them. So coming soon to a theater near you, and that's, what's that? Say Hey James is on, where am I? Oh, this is a TikTok. I don't do much TikTok, but news articles I'll grab them. So check that out. Fun times ahead. And then this one is completely unrelated to the state that we're in, but just so you know, acceptable in the green, and you want to stay out of the red zone. A lot of bad things have happened in the red zone, just saying. So, with that, stop that and see how everyone's doing. What do we have left? Oh, you know what? We'll give you one more picture. How about this one? I just saw this one before we went live tonight. Who's we? This one. I like this one. Circle of Life. No offense to the non-meat eaters, but it's funny. Circle of Life. They say dinosaurs are chickens. They take chickens, they turn them into chicken meat. They take chicken meat and turn them into kitty dinosaurs. So I find it funny. So sorry, but no animals were hurt in that actual photo. Excuse me. Okay. Where are we at? They were? Well, yeah, I guess they were. All right. Well, I didn't do it. I'm not condoning it. God.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
All right. What's next? How's everyone doing? What do we got here? Let's see. What do we got? Bok. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, they're messing with our weather. And there's some people that have been buried all throughout California and other parts of the, different areas of the U.S. and other places. But there's some areas in Northern California that they're just getting hammered. They can't even get out. I watched people, they were digging a roof off so it wouldn't collapse. It's pretty nuts out there. So please, may God be with everyone that's dealing with struggles like that. And what is this? Come to Australia. They took the civilians and guns and gave the military to a certain country. Right? What could possibly go wrong? Just put another ship on a bobby. I can't even say it. It's the climate change. I apologize, but I'm glad you're here. And thank you for watching the whole show upside down. Let's see, what do we got here? What do we have? You got anything? We got winds blowing across America. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? Nothing else. Okay. Let's roll back down. Who's here? Okay. Where should we go from here? Where should we go from here? Oh, I know. I covered this on Jen and Shapu's show, but I didn't hit it here, so I want to show you really quick. Let's see. I think it's this one. Go here. Yes, and then window. Okay, I think this works. Okay. So, those are Freemason signs. Sorry, let's see. I covered that last week. And the moon pictures, those are fun. You got to go and look at some of these high definition moon pictures. They're just fascinating with no blast crater or anything. But anyways, Revelation 16, the sixth angel poured out his vial on the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the king's knees might be prepared. All right. And then this is in what's called the Hadith, I believe is how you say it, which is Arabic. It can mean different things, modern, opposite of ancient, news or talking, but it's mostly mentioned as an Islamic literature that is the saying of the Prophet Muhammad. It's used in the Quran. And so one of their hadiths is, this is talking about end times, the hour will not occur until the Euphrates River recedes, uncovering a mountain of gold over which people will fight. 99 out of every 100 will get killed. And the reason I looked into that, brought that up, was I just covered this story about Uganda discovered deposits worth $12 trillion because, they're connected to the Euphrates River. And then, of course, America is immediately ready to throw democracy at them because, that's our gold. At least that's the way we see it. And so Euphrates River is drying up. And then remember the Revelation 16, where is it? This one. It was dried up that way the kings of the east might be prepared. And what do we get? We get this article came out just last week. The Department of Defense tells Congress the U.S. military must be ready for the possible confrontation with China, pushing an $842 billion budget to modernize the force. So they're preparing for Revelation 16, I'm assuming. And these were just some artist renditions of what potentially we're looking at, because I believe that we're living in the short season. I think for those of you playing along, I believe that, of course, we went to the Great Flood, and then I believe Revelation happened, and there was a 1,000-year reign of Christ. And after that, we're waiting for the short season, which we're in, and then the war of Gog and Magog against Israel, which looks like it's happening right now. And if Revelation and flooding and all that happened, a lot of things have been buried. And this is an idea of what potentially how far down some of these buildings go. Because as we're finding, they're digging out all these things and finding in real life, like just things buried, temples and Moai, if Juan Truth is here. And so the idea is we don't know where ground level is. And it's just fascinating topics. And then, of course, this one, if you still believe we're flying through space on a spinning ball, all of these line up in like these pyramids and stuff with Orion's belt. Pretty interesting. So enemies on Earth, friends in space, always have been, and evidences of God's wrath. This is the way I see it. That's why I like being on the show with Jen and Shapu, and I watch those Spartan Red guys because I steal a lot of their pictures. There they are, laughing and Mr. Spartan, and or Mr. Red, I guess. And it's just like when you see these pictures, it's just hard to deny that something happened Call it God's wrath, call it fervent heat, call it a flood. I don't care what you call it, but there's evidence of something happening to this realm on the level and scale that we can't comprehend. Because the other story would be, you'd have to believe, is that someone ran up here and randomly shoved some red bricks in these spaces. And we walked through the ape caves with Jen and my wife, and it did not look like a cave at all. It looked more like a subway tunnel. So anyways, I think we're hitting the same pictures. Oh, there's a good one. The arch and the bricks up there, just randomly stuck in there for no reason whatsoever. Or this, I think, was my favorite. This wall that is part brick, part giant stones, and every once in a while, just a whole bunch of mortar and tiny little brick pieces. I think Jen calls them bricklets. And then scorch on this wall. And I mean, if you look into how, oh shoot, what is that called, Shapu? It's a bubbling that happens in a crystallization, or the growth expansion. And you'll see it in bubbles, and you'll see it, and it'll look just like what you're seeing with cobblestone things and things like that. So, and then we're supposed to believe that they decided to build these arches into the ground for no reason whatsoever and make them gigantic. No, this all got damaged, melted, flooded out. We don't know. I mean, the best place to build that little castle was amongst these gigantic boulders, I guess. Yeah, but they're constantly digging things out and finding stuff below. We toured a city in Seattle with Erin and her family, and it went down, I think, another 5-6 floors, and they don't even know what's down there. So we really don't know where ground level starts. I think we covered all these pictures. And I have no idea what I'm doing. Yes. Well, that one's a given. More tea. Uh-oh. Could I get more hot water in this, love? Thanks. Okay. What do we have? Everybody doing good? I'm having fun. I hope you're all having fun. Sort of a low-key episode tonight, so I don't just pass out. So what do we got here? Yeah, I believe there's tunnels everywhere. Oops, wrong one. Oh, this thing. Yeah, where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, I believe there's tunnels everywhere. I have a video somewhere. I'll look for it. But there was a truck driver, and he came across some weird tunnels, and they just go on throughout the entire country. I mean, I think you can travel from one end to the other, underground. Yes, the Moai. I don't know if Juan is in here, but they're coming. So, and you think we're at Revelation 28? Maybe. It's so hard to decide. But what I think is, like, let's say God's revelation actually happened. Then after that, you get the 1,000-year reign of Christ, which would make sense as to why there's so many things that we can show that there's 1,000 years added or subtracted or whatever, because the I's or the ones or I's or J's instead of a one. And so if that's the case, then they all leave. The saints and Jesus, they go to an area that we can't get to. It's still here on earth because they have to be surrounded too. And then Satan gets loosed for a short season.
Sorry. Pizza.
Actually, little season. Used to be short season. That's what I remember. Now it's little.
Pizza.
Okay. So if we're in that little season of pizza, then he's going to do what Hollywood does, right? He's going to make a shitty remake and try to recreate the events for us that didn't get to be here for the first time. Now, two things about that. One is God's actual revelation sounds horrifically terrifying. And so I guess I'm hedging my bet and hoping I'm already on the other side of that. Okay, we're on the back nine, as they say. But, there's still a chance we're not. But then how do you wait for the end of that? Jesus comes back and shuts it all down. And so the same thing, if we're past that and we're in the little
Pizza, pizza.
then that means we're waiting also for Jesus's final return and final judgment. And so Satan's version of this, Revelation 2.0, is, a lot of it's like what, online and computers? Like, how many people got deceived because this box that you're watching told them to do stuff, told them to shut down their businesses, told them to put things on their face and things in their arms and do stuff to their family and fight and this, that, and the other. All of that came out of this little box. Now think about that. If you were actually back in, like, say, the biblical days, and they wanted to spread, this panic that's going on, and they came up and they said, here, plug in this TV and watch it. It didn't work. It wouldn't have worked. See, they got the real revelation. But we're in the new technology Wally world that we think we're more intelligent and smarter than they are. Problem is we really are that Wally, to where the technology got smarter and we got dumber. I mean, literally, one of my sons, he's just learned and bought a stick shift. And I told him, I heard this joke that, a manual drive stick shift car basically is an anti-theft device for a millennial. Because seriously, there's very few people that know how to drive a stick shift. Anyone with their hand? Put your hand up. Very few people that know how to do it. I learned because I was forced to, but there were a lot more manual cars back then. Now everything is automatic and computerized. And so, now how do you want we're talking about manual cars now? But there. I don't know. What were we talking about? Everyone's waving. Hi. Oh, yeah, you guys, you know how to drive a manual. Yeah, okay, you know how to drive stick shift. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's, we were talking about something else. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. You guys are stuck here.
I got nowhere else to go!
But how about some Sarah? Huh? Are you in here, Ryan? How about some Sarah?
The ceiling fans? They're very attractive.
Wait. It's time for Sarah. Yes. Time for Sarah.
It's time for Ceiling Fan Man and Sarah, and kisses and tacos.
The call of the wild. The plastic spring.
I'm a Black Panther now.
The Black Panther strikes. And now, safely in her lair, the Black Panther feasts on its prey. Enjoy your prey, Black Panther. You earned it. Oh, the humanity. Nature, at its most brutal state, purely Black Panther. And now she uses her laser eyes. Sometimes at night, the Black Panther likes to hang out on the balcony. And then go for a midnight run. This is the call of the Black Panther. You never know when it might strike.
Satellite tracking continues.
Hey, I couldn't cook. I wasn't feeling good. Give me a break. And wasn't that wild, that Chuck Norris thing? That's the weirdest thing. I'm not saying that's a quantum effect, but man, that guy's got hair all everywhere. He's got like angel wings on his back and stuff. But not saying I've watched too many views of Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee's fight scene, but that's really they even that sound effect of the goink, that's in the movie. And there's a kitten walking by and he's ripping his chest hair off. It's quite a karate fight if you haven't seen it. Oh shoot. Okay, what do we got? So that was Sarah. Didn't see Ryan in there, but hopefully if he's not here, he'll see it later. And if he shows up later, Melanie, mark him tardy. So yeah, he was a hairy one, right? Yeah, somebody check on Ryan. Well, now what does this say? Take out Sheltrin Chilcat. I hope I said that right. Thank you for the addition, Sue. I'm not quite sure, but yes. So what do we have? Okay, what's next? Hey, you like my laser eyes? Yeah. Okay, what's next? Let's go over here. Clickety click. Go over here. Over here, over here, and over here. Okay. This if Jen and Shapiro are watching. Now, you probably have already covered it, but this came across my desk. This place, it's in, where is this? But there's this, this whole town or island. It's got this fortress and stuff. And where is this? The Sculpture Park at Madeira Palace in, where is this? Let me look at the map. Where are we at? I don't know. We're somewhere. We're on Earth. And, but the main reason I want, here we go. There we go. Let's scroll all the way out. That's where we are. We're somewhere deep, dark India. All right. And, but the thing I wanted to show you is, I mean, you can do this on your own. There's this fascinating amount of architecture around this site, and it goes on for miles. And that's how I believe their old cities were. They were monstrous and like all connected, all of this in some way or another. And to the point where they even have, where is it? They have a palace that sits out in the middle of the water that they say happened because they shut off a dam and filled this in. But they got this literally like floating palace out there. I don't know if there's a better shot of it. But yeah, you can do your own looking into this, or maybe they'll do it on a show. And just fascinating buildings that we're told, that were built with workhorses and manpower back in the 1800s or earlier. And yet we still to this day cannot reconstruct these things. So just a lot of interesting photos in there. I think there's like 2,000 of them, but I thought they had better ones of the palace in the water. But in any case, if you're ever in that area, I would definitely check it out. What's this? Look at that. Look how mammoth these buildings are. Like, why would you need to make these archways so huge? Unless people were way bigger back then, as it says in the Bible. I mean, look at that. So, anyways, cool pictures. Look at that. Look at that. So maybe one day on Jen's channel, if they already haven't done it, Jen will be like, see, you can see the meltification here and the liquefaction of this. And then Shipu will be like, yes, and then I saw this one too. And I can't do Shapu. He's way too amazing of a voice for me. And then there's Ceiling Fan Man going, look, this looks like anyways, so check it out. That's the fort, whatever. This was sent to me, just kind of funny. 33 swimmers were accused of harassing a pod of dolphins in Hawaii. And yet, when you actually read the article, besides the fact that it's, our favorite number or their favorite number, where'd it go? I don't want USA Today. No, I said I don't want it. Click. How do I get out of here? Well, you can read this entire article unless you subscribe. But when I look through it, it doesn't actually say what happened to the people. It just says you're not supposed to do it, and the authorities are there to meet them. So another nonsense story for nothing. This I found interesting for those of you playing along in the quantum effect world. This was TurboTax's newest commercial, which I'm sure cost a lot of money to create and a lot of money to put on TV and wherever it shows. And the main reason I want to show you is, you see back here, this is, if you look at your keyboards, if you're not familiar with this, this is how the dollar sign always has been and always will be, apparently, at least for now in this reality, a single line. If you're thinking there was always two, you've been, quantum affected, because I always thought there was two. And I remember my job one time, someone was making fun of me. They're like, why do you keep drawing two lines in the dollar sign? And I'm like, because it has it. And he showed me the keyboard trick, and I was shocked that I was doing it wrong all these years. And of course, the people that created this commercial, they messed up too, because when they created the award for her to hold, they put in two lines. And I'm certain it wasn't cheap to make this or this entire commercial. And the fact that all they had to do is look at their own backdrop and see the correct way to do it. And then when they actually make the award, they do it wrong. So quantum effect hits TurboTax at tax season, and she does not look happy. Boom, baby. Right, hit a drop, but I don't have one. And this one, I do enjoy watching. Watching The Watchmen is one of my favorite auditors in Gamma Press. This is Dad. I do enjoy watching them go around the country. And their newest thing is they'll go up and down malls and shopping centers. And you can run the gamut of people having a good time to people having a horrible time. So it's fascinating. You get to watch it all within sometimes one video. But I found interesting in this one that Mr. Amagamut says he noticed a security guard let him store it so they were outside.
Now you turned into.
The guy's name? What's his name?
What was the guy's name? What was the guy's name? Who made the spoons? Paul Revere. Remember Paul Revere? No?
Remember Paul Revere?
He rode around to all you Americans, telling everybody that the redcoats were coming.
So now, like I remember, and like I was taught in history, Paul Revere, midnight ride, he got on his horse, one up by land, two up by sea, ran into Lexington, redcoats are coming, the British are coming, either one, but not our current history. Our current history was that was all a lie. Our current history is Paul Revere actually didn't really make the midnight ride, the famous one, because where is it? I've covered it. He gets captured. See, Revere was captured and questioned by the British soldiers at gunpoint. He told them of the Army's movement from Boston. He said that the British Army troops would be in danger if they approached Lexington because of the large Norman. He and other captured. So he's giving positions and stuff. In addition to that, where is it? Let's see. Where is it? The British soldier gathered and decided not to press further towards Lexington. Instead, free the prisoners and head back to their commanders. The British confiscated Revere's horse. They took his horse and rode off to warn the approaching army. Revere walked to Jonas Clark's house, this thing, supposedly, where they were staying. Okay? Totally different. They even show you the ride still to this day. And he went on it. And then they tell you, well, it's because he has a friend that wrote this poem and they stuck Revere in it because he's, buddy and part of the Illuminati community or whatever. And so that's the current history for those of you that thought Paul Revere did anything. Apparently he's I would assume they'll take his statue away soon. So I'm telling you, they're rewriting history. Next, they'll have a statue of, say, like Trump or Hillary getting arrested. You know what I mean? They're just whatever they want. It's happening right in front of our eyes. You don't know what's written in the school books anymore, do you? You guys haven't looked at a textbook from a junior high or high school in forever. I know I haven't. Maybe if you have children and you're doing your homeschool curriculum, okay. But most of us have no idea what's being taught in school right now to this current generation. They don't. We don't. It's kind of shocking. Just like this. This came out just the other day, according to the CDC. 1 out of 36 8-year-olds are identified with autism in 2020. That's a shocking number. Shocking. I only pray that one day we can figure out what's causing this. All of a sudden, it seems to be exponentially ramping up. So, but yeah. This was a good, I'll throw this in the chat. I do enjoy this speaker, Vlad. He's one of my favorite that I'll listen to when I'm looking for inspiration or things to talk about and try to do for you all on this channel. And hey, Pacific Northwest 360, you've driven a 3 on the tree. Nice. Okay. And so, anyways, where am I at? Let's go back here. There. This was a really good talk about forgiveness and healing from trauma. So I highly recommend you check that out. I was thinking I was probably going to cover that, and maybe he had another video that is amazing if I can find it. This one. This was his most current one. It's fantastic. And maybe I will do this one as a separate day or night or whatever. I thought I might do it tonight, but I'm just too kind of worn out for it once we finish this show. But he goes over everyone, we have a purpose in God's plan, and he goes over good ways to understand that and to accept it and to advance in it. And so I would like to do a breakdown on this one with you all one day. So we'll come back to that one. But okay. Well, if we're going to hit that, we might as well do this. There's people in here that are waiting for scary space news.
This scary space news.
Okay. This is the second time we've had a giant hole in the sun. And the first one we talked about, they said it sent I don't even know how they know it, but a cannibal solar flare, like in the original Night of the Living Dead or something. And I find it fascinating because, first of all, look, if you follow my channel for a while, this is what I believe. These are cartoons. These are images. There has never been a picture like this of the sun. They'll take coded numbers and stuff, and they'll have an artist draw it and create these CGI images. So knowing that this picture has been created, so now we have to ask ourselves, why do we care? The corona and the solar flares and stuff. Now, they always relate it to things that happen here on Earth. Oh, it caused this shortage in the internet, or it caused this thing to erupt, or no proof of any of it. Again, go back to the book of Job. We don't even know how the sun works. It's definitely not as they say. It's not as far as they say. And it's most likely some type of spirit or gaseous material. I don't know. We don't know. None of us have ever been up there, and none of us will. None of us. No one at the sound of my voice is going to go past low Earth orbit to figure out what's out there. None of us ever will. I feel very confident saying that. So, the fact that we sit here and discuss these things, fine, that's great. But just remember, where's my drop? There's 2 drops I have. One.
There are no experts.
I know nothing.
So we don't know how this all works. All we can do is speculate. What am I saying? I'm saying just watch out when people are telling you, no, this isn't how it works. This is how it works. They don't know either. It's all conjecture, speculation through experiments or through theories. That's it. That's all we'll ever have. That's all we're supposed to have. And if you want to know how things work, you're supposed to ask God. We'll cover that at the end. I'll show you how to gain all the knowledge of the world. It's real easy. Hubble stones with a new glittering star cluster image cartoon. Image. So that's a good one. That's where your money's going. You get that. And then there's thrilling new evidence that says Earth's life came from space. Excellent. That's what we were discussing earlier when we had that other. Hang on. That's where I got off track. Stop here. Oh, no, we did do it. Never mind. We did. We kind of did. We talked about gold and how that was happening in Revelation stuff. But you need to look into this. There's only 2 choices. According to the Bible, gold comes from God's heaven throne somewhere. Because in the book of Adam and Eve, it's one of the things that was given to Adam when they were alone in the cave and they were frightened. And he needed some comfort because he couldn't get back to the garden. And God brings him the same thing that Jesus gets. He gets gold, incense, and myrrh. And the gold, an angel brings it from somewhere in God's throne or somewhere out there and brings it to earth. Well, the mainstream story is just like this. Gold, according to mainstream, came from the origination of space, Big Bang. Something crashed into us that had gold, and gold came from outer space. So those are your options. Gold came from outer space, outside of the firmament, or gold came from God, outside the firmament. They don't give you a third option. And to me, it helps prove the biblical side, because I do not believe I'm a flying ball in space that asteroids and things could crash into and bring gold to Earth. Same with, I don't believe that our life came out from outer space. Then there's this. How much fuel is left in the 20-year Mars orbiter? Well, what's interesting is the Opportunity rover, which was supposed to go 90 days, 30 months, managed to keep going for 15 years. That's incredible. And so now the current one, let's see, what is it? The Mars Odyssey spacecraft launched in 2001 has been around Mars for 20 years. And I just thought it was interesting. Here's some cool cartoons. We never talk about, in order to send this into outer space, it has to start off with 500 pounds of hydrogenine fuel. So, wonder what that weighs. And I haven't even looked into what hydrogenine fuel is, but I bet it's expensive. So, you got that. But have no... Huh? Oh, it is? For blood pressure. Yeah, it's dark down there. But have no fear, because the UK is backing. Rolls-Royce is projecting to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. So that's cool. What could possibly go wrong there? And we covered this guy. He found soft tissue in dinosaur bones and he got fired.
They fired him.
Oh, yeah, see? But the thing that was amazing about it is when they researched the bones, they found blood clots, which equivalent to them drowning. So whatever dinosaurs were, whatever creatures they were, they most likely died in the original Noah's flood. And that's on a channel called Founded Earth Brothers. I believe they believe in biblical Earth like I do. I don't believe in spinning flying ball Earth or flat Earth. I believe in biblical Earth. So there's a lot of people out there to check out. I've been checking out all kinds of new channels and finding all kinds of information. There's more people out there than the small group that I was in. So keep your eyes out there. Then Founded Earth Brothers begin. I don't know about them. You just check them out on your own. I thought this was funny. So this article came out in 2022. And people were upset because they felt that the character of Thor, I mean, understandably so with, these scenes, was, looking effeminate. How about that? Okay, with him longingly looking, into Star-Lord's eyes and saying funny things, I guess. So the fans got upset. And then this news article hits. Newly unearthed Viking gold violates our understanding of the Norse god Odin. Uh-oh, Shaggy, what's up? So apparently now they're thinking that by finding these coins, let's see, where does it go? It was a fun article. They want to know, they wonder if Odin was a shapeshifter or just plain out queer. Because now they're saying, where is it? Let's see. Odin was a master of Seor, which is a magical ritual involving chanting, drumming, and seeing into the future or speaking with the dead. According to Snorri, Odin learned Seor from the goddess Freyja. However, because Seor was associated with women and because its aesthetic components may have had sexual allusions, it's seen as unmanly, and thus has led scholars to question whether Odin was queer or at least gender fluid. So there you go. Jesus still stands as the Son of God, who the one and only died for our sins. No one else is claiming that. He had the power in his hand to do whatever he wanted, but he gave up his life. He put his life in their hands for you. Whereas Odin, he's wearing dresses and doing seances with dead people. So my camp's not with the heathens. I'm going to stick with God. Just saying. What was this one? This one was about shooting events. Let me throw this in the chat too. This was a really good little video by someone. I can't even pronounce that. Where are you all? You're over here. Oh, God, 62 comments. I haven't been seeing the chat. Sorry, everyone. Go there. And over on Rockfish. Where's everybody? Oh, hey, thanks, Nuba. Nuba sent me a tip. Very sweet. Appreciate that. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay. So what do we got? So this guy goes over the history of mass shootings. And what's fascinating is
13
in school. Where is it? He goes over the beginnings. Let's see. Between 1900 and 1929, there were three shootings.
Mass shootings.
Okay, but he goes over them. And each one of them was like an event. Like this one
was between miners on strike and strike breakers.
Yeah, so it was strike and strike breakers. And then the next one was a riot of some kind. Oh wait, that was the same one.
In the 1930s.
There was two in the 1930s. But each one of these had something to do with a reason. It wasn't just a random guy walking around shooting like it's happening now. In the 1930s, the same thing.
Between police and fugitives.
This was police and fugitives had a massacre, and it wasn't until you get to, where is it? What's this one?
Were killed by an army guard. The second involved the lynching of 4 African Americans.
See, each one had a reason for it. Okay, if there was such a thing. The very first mass shooting that happens like what we're seeing in today was this monster.
It's called the Walk of Death killings.
The Walk of Death.
Howard Unruh killed 13 people.
And he just walked in a park, I guess, and shot people. So he was the first person. He's the father of mass shootings in America, if that's such a thing. Okay? But other than him, in the 1950s, there was one. So you can see the pattern. There's very few, and the only one that was like the mass that we see today. And then you start heading towards the sea.
The
7 in the
1960s
1960s.
saw 7. The 1970s, 16. In the 1980s, 23. From the turn of the century, the year 1900, to 1989, there were only 56 total so-called mass shootings.
Which already is a lot, but 56 in what was that, 80 years? So where's that number? Yeah, in almost 90 years. Okay, so then you fast forward, because let's find out why we're discussing this.
Unfortunately, and 2011 through 20 in control, and it is escalating as we get closer to the end. In the 90s, there were 45 mass shootings. From 2000 to 2010, there were 52. From 2011 through 2020, there were 206. In 2021, there were 693. In 2022, there were 647. And in 2023, thus far, there have been 130 mass shootings.
That's unbelievable when you put those numbers together. So then taking that information, which again, I can't say his channel name, but I put it in the chat. Please show him some love. And if you want to say we sent you, that'd be great. It's called Serpent the Rainbow. So then from there, I looked into this. Of course, John Talks had his spin on it. Right after the latest one happened, President Biden, he spoke.
My name is Joe Biden.
And when I first saw this, I thought it was manipulated video, but it's not. He makes these jokes and they're laughing. This is the first time he talks after this Nashville shooting.
Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs.
John, we'll jump back in here. Considering the moment,
we were told that the
shooting that just happened, and we were told he would be addressing this off the top.
Yeah, it's rather surprising. I thought that a somber President Biden would have come to the podium here and addressed this school shooting.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Anyways, he obviously didn't think it was that big of a deal. I love that. That was Poker Face. You haven't watched that show. It's really fun. It's like a version of Columbo. But yeah, interesting. So then I started looking into it and check it out. Yeah. Now at this point, the last one's at 130. Now it's 120, and then it changed 131. So 131 so far. There's been more mass shootings than days so far in this year. So that's interesting. So then I looked into this. Okay. So this shows you the mass shootings and where they're located. And then I thought, well, you can do better than that. And I pulled up this map that shows you the percentage of where people own guns. Thinking that where'd it go? Thinking I'd see a correlation. And so what I found was, well, I guess we'll have to put off the side here. So the dark areas, they have the most guns. These states that are super dark is between 50, 60% or higher, I guess. And then these really light shaded areas, they have 20%, some of them even less, 5% and so forth. And then when you compare it, the areas that have the most mass shootings, like California, well, they have hardly any guns. And then this one was a pretty big one, and there's no guns. And look at all the ones in Washington, and there's no guns. Now you got this big circle here. Of course, that was the Vegas shooting. But what I find fascinating is they're kind of mid-range for the gun ownership. They're like right in the middle of the key, I'd say here. And yet, for a place that, we know is what's called Sin City, it's known for alcohol abuse, gambling abuse, drug addiction, prostitution, and trafficking, drugs and sex. It doesn't have very many. It just has that one big one. So I find that, I don't know, somewhat interesting. Then, of course, these areas have tons of guns. There's up until just say like a few years ago, I don't think some of these even had a shooting at all. Now they all each have like at least one. And so, and again, let's see, move over here. And up there it goes again. Clickety click, there you are. And so if we move over here, then again, I see this interesting pattern though. See, now these states, they don't have guns. And look at all the shootings going. All the shootings going on over this. Like the areas that of the states that are like flat and square, the boring states as they call them, they seem to have the least amount of shootings. Whereas all these squiggly line, weird shaped states, they're off the charts with shootings. And don't even go to Florida. I thought Florida was full of old people that were like retired and chilling and going to Disneyland, but apparently there's a lot of pissed off people in Florida. Now you expect a lot in Texas, so that's not shocking. What is shocking is they actually have less guns than some of these places, say like Arkansas. So again, look at that area. Every time I touch it, it does the thing. But get out of here. Arkansas has just a few, and it's got a ton of guns. And Texas, which has less guns, has way more. So I don't know what to take away from that, but just thought we should look into that. And now here's an anomaly way up here in Maine. Looks like they've only got one. But then again, very few people probably go way the hell up here. Just saying. Hopefully I'm not making enemies in Maine. I make a lot of enemies lately. Oh, look, Alaska's even got one. Ooh, Hawaii doesn't have any. Sorry, I'm not predicting one, but you guys don't have one. So you did get the scare that we didn't get, where they told you they were going to blow you up with nukes. That was a fun day, I'm sure. But so far, no shooting. So good on you, Hawaii. Okay, so that was enough with that nonsense. And just so you know, I'm not going to go on this channel and potentially try to get it strict or whatever. You guys use your own information and decide what's going on with these shootings. But some of these pictures I find fascinating that someone was there taking these. Now, this was happening at this moment. Supposedly, shots are being fired and people were getting shot and dying. This gal's running. This plumber is just trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. But this, to me, looks like an assault. And I wish the cameraman would have stopped this, because it literally looks like he's covering her mouth and telling her things like, it'll be over soon. I don't know. But supposedly, he's laying on top of a woman, shielding her for gunfire. How does he know that? I have no idea. But I definitely would have checked into it. I hope she's okay. And then there's this one, as I think was my favorite. What is going on here? So you got the cops going all like Charlie's Angels here. This guy, my favorite, he's on the ground doing some kind of sniper crawl. Meanwhile, this guy, he found Bruce Springsteen's bandana, which is missing. It's now a hat. But he took his shirt off to make this phone call. Meanwhile, this guy is the boss of all of them. No weapons, no nothing. And he's just texting what's for dinner, I guess. And I don't know. It's just a pretty fascinating picture. So just do a look into it on your own and see what you think. But I find these interesting. Yeah, the one dude's texting. Yeah. So looks very scared. I used to have those army men. Remember the green ones? I swear they did this exact same position. I know they did this position. I know they did this. But I'm pretty sure they did these too. So, all right, what's next? Oh, this is another one of my favorite new auditors. Well, he's not new, But for my wife and I, she shows me all the auditors, and that's how you guys all find them. But first of all, whether you like these different auditors or not, but this guy, other than my opening, one of the coolest openings, I swear. It's just off the chart, full of it's just dripping with, I don't know. Look at that. Badassery. It's dripping with badassery. Yeah, stab that in the ground. Take your stance. Right? Isn't that cool? Anyways, why did I have this one? Because you can take a stance without any kind of confrontation. And this to me was a perfect example. So these two guys, they do one of the things I really like. If they have a conversation, they're usually just nonsense. Like a lot of times they talk about fast food and what their favorite burger was and so forth. And they do that because these cops come up for no reason whatsoever and think they can take over the scene and bark orders to them and tell them what to do. And all they're literally doing on this one is standing on a street corner. And so this cop shows up, and the way they dismiss him, they ignore him.
Burger King?
It's brilliant.
I haven't had a Whopper in a while. It's been a while since I had a Whopper.
Kind of looks like Hank, if you guys want.
Or the rodeo burger even. Rodeo burgers.
But maybe if Hank had a tiny brother.
I'm not big on barbecue sauce, but rodeo burgers are good.
Yeah, rodeo burger. I heard that was pretty good. Has that got barbecue sauce on it?
Yeah, it does.
I thought it did.
I'm just not real big on the barbecue sauce.
Onion ring on it as well?
Yeah, it's got the onion rings.
I thought it did.
Now, he thought he was going to show up and own this scene. And he can't even figure out how to talk to these guys.
And bacon. Pretty good.
I'll have to hit one of those. Before I get home, I gotta go Domino's. Make sure I grab some pizzas.
All right.
I have to order them online, take them home.
Okay.
Can I interrupt your conversation for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could always just, do the fallback to Arby's.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you get back in the car, make sure you give me that bag.
Not going to listen. I'm just going to speak into you for a second. Just come back for a second.
Okay, now, for those of you that don't like, angry or cursing or whatever, just, you got to go with this. So now, they ignored him because he has no right to tell them anything. And he gets right in their face and starts barking orders. And they talk back to him. But, it is what it is.
Give me that bag with a little coke.
I'm just warning you guys, if you interfere with the business here, you can be charged with a crime, okay? I'm Sergeant Stowe with Black Public Safety.
You're dismissed. Shut up.
You just have to...
You're dismissed. Shut up. We don't want to hear a word you have to say. You have no control out here in public. Shut up. Go away. You're dismissed.
Yeah, I'm not dismissed.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I'm just going to tell you, if you interfere with their business...
Don't want to hear it.
Don't run with scissors. Don't eat.
We don't need any directives from you.
Beat your wife. All the shit normal adults know not to do, right?
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
The cop puts his password on here. It looks like... I don't know how to look at that. Who wants to take their picture? I like this part, though. I think my favorite. If that wasn't enough.
Want to buy a bag of Coke? Want to buy a bag of Coke?
Just a little Coke. Not a lot.
Walk of shame. Because he knows there ain't a damn thing he can do.
You're interfering with their business. Ain't nobody interfering with nothing. Stop.
How can we be standing at the road and interfere with the business? That's just ignorant talk right there.
Stuff it. Take your directives. Go tell your children what to do.
So, look, I'm just saying. Isn't that funny? Just a little Coke. Isn't that funny? That's funny. And I'm not going to make the obvious comment as to why maybe this guy maybe has an attitude. Just because the car seems really big for him. That could be. I don't know. Maybe they get him a smaller car, make him look more menacing. So, anyways, thought that was a good one. So, Michigan Constitutional Crusader, if you want to check him out. What's next? Oh, for those of you worried about AI, the Pentagon, the Marines defeated AI by hiding in a cardboard box. And I'm not making this up. Where is it? Maybe I have another better picture of this. I guess not. But yeah, that's what they did. They where is it? I keep seeing that little kid, but let's see. I think is it this? Well, I don't know if there's a picture of it, but that's what they did. They literally put boxes over themselves to fool the AI, and it worked. Which when I looked into it, it apparently evolved from a video game, Metal Gear in 1987. And one of the things you did was you would put a box on to get past the surveillance cameras. Unless the box moved in front of the surveillance cameras, of course, they saw a moving box. And they continued on through, whoops, what's going on? Throughout all of the video games, that's a way that you can get around by hiding. And I find it interesting, a lot of the boxes, where is it, if I could find that again? Where is it? Well, a lot of them say, oh, orange. So there's your orange 33. But it's been a thing throughout all video games that you wear a box on your head, and it's camouflage. And so now it literally is. So AI, just like in these video games, get confused by a box on your head. It does it in real life too. It gets confused by a box on your head. I had no idea this was a thing back in video games all these years, box on the head. But yeah, if you anywhere and you put this box on, and I think even the newest coming out, the where is it? There's maybe at the end here. Anyways, doesn't matter. So just so you know that you can, AI is not quite smart enough yet. You can still fool them with a box on your head. Okay. What's next? Is that it? Oh my gosh. Right? Got to be square. It's hip to be square. It's hip to be square. Okay. Yeah, there you go. If you, whoops, with a solid snake. I don't know what that means. I hit the wrong one. Yeah, old Amazon boxes now can save you from AI. Isn't that great? You're right, Frendelis. What do we have there? What do we got? Where is the guy? He's here.
That's very true.
So, what's next? We covered that. I think we're getting down towards the winding down area. So, Boxhead, yeah. You think that's hilarious? Hey, Red Storm. That's a cool name. And Grandpa Bear is here, always working. What, did you just get here? Melanie, did he just get here? Because I don't think I checked anyone in his tardy.
I don't feel tardy.
Just in case he snuck in. And I like it. Maybe it's my computer system or my old StreamYard, but every time people type things like this, I get this. Face fuchsia white eyes. So thank you for that, Sue. I don't know why it does that. So, AL be our overlords. Yeah, unless you put a box on your head and then I can't find you. So, okay. What is this zoo? Square goes boxes, cats punching. No idea. But yeah, face green smiling. So, let's see what else. Yeah, now we got to start saving boxes just in case, right? Let's save a couple. Who knows? I don't know. It's kind of funny though. So let's see. What else we got here? Oh, I did call him out. Okay, so he was tardy, Melanie. Okay. And and Johnny was late too. So Johnny, you also have to hit erasers with Grandpa Bear.
I don't feel tardy.
Right? That's what happens when you come late to my show. Okay. Yes, the unknown comic. I remember he had a bag, though. Remember that guy? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything else? What do we have? Covered that. Let's see. All right. Let's look at this. Let's finish these off of the screen. see, we've got share audio, clickety click. And you can do this yourself, of course. Just type in Bible verses about blessings. If you want to get some joy in your life, just read all the different versions about blessings. There's so many that it's amazing. And but I wanted to mainly cover well, that's wisdom. Well, we want to cover wisdom. But it's just like you can ask and God will give. You just have to talk to him and make a relationship with him. But there's so many that cover blessings from God, not just onion rings in your fries. And so one of the books that I've been reading, this Christopher Glynn, Glyn. He's got a lot, and he has this one series of the Apocrypha. I think I'm saying it right this time. And it's the books that aren't in the actual Bible canon version, but they're debated as to they should have been or they were. Because now there's exactly 66 Illuminati confirmed books, but there's others around. And this particular one intrigued me because Solomon is supposed to be basically the smartest man that ever lived. I know mainstream science will tell you it was Stephen Hawking's in a computer voice, or Albert Einstein, even though we never saw him do a single problem on a board. We've covered those people. But Solomon was known in the day as the wisest man ever. And it's a fascinating read because when he's young and he's got a good relationship with God, God actually tells him he'll have whatever he wants, and he seeks out wisdom. And he actually goes through this in this book of Solomon of how he sees wisdom, because it's written about in the Bible that wisdom is part of God, obviously, and it is the spirit of God. And according to Solomon, she's the breath and the power of God. And also someone that God loves more than anything, because she was given the knowledge of everything, right? And so he seeks out to have a relationship with wisdom. But, you have to do it through righteous ways. And so he talks about this. And when he got to this part, he's talking about wisdom and how, in the days of Noah, it says, she preserved the first form father of the world. So that's Adam, that was created alone and brought him out of his fall, and then gave him power to rule all things. But when the unrighteous went away from her in his anger, he perished with the fury, for us he murdered his brother. So that's talking about the Cain and Abel thing. And where is it? Did I miss it? For whose cause the earth being drowned with a flood, wisdom again preserved it and directed the course of the righteous in a piece of wood, small value. So that's Noah in the ark, in the flood. Moreover, the nations in their wicked conspiracy being confounded, she found the righteous and preserved him and blameless unto God, and kept him strong against his tender compassion towards his son. And when the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities. That sounds to me like wrath of God. And the very next statement, of whose wickedness even to this day the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument for the unbelieving soul. For regarding not wisdom, they got no other this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them a memorial of their foolishness, so that in things wherein they offended could not be so much be hid. I'm telling you, that's what I'm seeing in all those melted pictures. In my mind, that's where revelation happened, because God has used this before. He talked about it in the Tower of Babel and different cities that he's destroyed. And don't forget Sodom and Gomorrah. And so I believe this again is pointing to that destruction. And if you haven't read all these books, they're awesome, because he's got this one, the book of Tobit, which goes over. Tobit was this story, and oh my God, there's so much involved in this, because Tobit's he's sending his son to go retrieve some money because he had lost everything in all the upheaval in the countries. And his son goes over to retrieve it, but at the same time, he meets this girl that has had, I think, 7 husbands, and each one of them, when they went to go in on the wedding night, they were killed by a demonic possession. And so that story's in the Bible, and it connects in this Tobit story because his son finally goes there, and he goes on this trip with the angel. I think it's Raphael. And while they're there, he captures a fish for them to eat. But he tells Tobit's son, Tobit, I think is his name. They have very similar names. He tells him to take out the heart, the liver, and the gall, of the fish. And he says to the angel, because the angel said to call him Azarias. He didn't say he was, I think, Raphael. What use is the heart and the liver and the gall? And he says, touching the heart and the liver, if a devil or an evil spirit trouble any, where'd it go? 7, and where's 8? We must make a smoke thereof before the man or the woman, and the party shall be no more vexed. As for the gall, it's good to anoint a man that has whiteness in his eyes, and he shall be healed. And what happened was, prior to this, his dad, Tobit, a bird of all things, craps in his eyes, and he goes blind. And so they eventually take this gall from the fish, and they rub it on his eyes somehow, and he can see. And meanwhile, they take the the heart and the liver, and they make this smoke that casts away the demon, and then he actually goes in and he ends up being her husband, and it works. And it's a funny story too, because the dad has been through it so many times that everyone's nervous. And when he goes into the wedding night, the dad, the king or whatever, he literally orders his servants to dig a hole because they figure they'll find him dead in the morning. And when they find he wasn't dead, he tells them, go bury that hole. I guess so. But it's an interesting story. So yeah, so there's that. So that's a cool thing. And all these stories are great. I just read, what's this other one? I think it was Judith.
Of the Upper Silesian.
That's a badassery story. Then the Israelites are completely surrounded by this monstrous army, and there's no way out. And Judith is able to sneak into camp and bring it all around to destruction. A single woman. So there's some really cool stories, not just in the Bible, but in these extra books. And I truly believe that these stories are our history. I don't believe it's all just, what do you call it? Make-believe stories for giving wisdom or morality stories. I believe they really happened. And I'm not alone, because you can go find the Sodom, where they find the brimstones. Oops. And you can pick them out, and they'll burn hot. And the main person that did a lot of this is that Ron Wyatt. And if you haven't checked out his videos, he's the first one I ever saw that went to Sodom and Gomorrah, and also did like Mount Sinai and found the Noah's Ark. And so if all of these things are being proven, it's fascinating to me the people that won't examine the Bible, because all these things are written about where? In the Bible. They're not written in Buddha texts. They're not written in Odin's writings. They're not written in anywhere. They're written in the Old Testaments and New Testaments, things that are going on. Here's the drone footage that he shot, where these are the palm trees or trees. There's supposed to be a whole bunch of trees in this one area prior to getting to the promised land as they were going. There they are. And then when you get up there, here's the rock at Horeb that Moses supposedly split. And there's this one gentleman my wife has been listening to. What's that guy's name, Gene?
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson. And untethered, she says. And he had an interesting thing that I didn't know. He said the reason that Moses couldn't make it to the promised land is because he took credit for this. And that displeased God. And I don't know about that, but it seems an interesting theory. And so anyways, that's the rock that Moses split, supposedly. It's right there, just like they said. And here's the dried lake. Whoops. What's going on? Let's see. I don't know what all these things are, but you can see. This is there's the altar for the molten calf altar, or golden calf, whatever you want to call it now. It's been quantum affected. And then, of course, the top of that mountain, I don't know if he has it. Yeah, here. This, and they don't understand why. It's all darkened, just on the surface. So that's where God supposedly talked to Moses. And he went up there and came down, and his hair was white, and the people were praying to a Moloch, and they were throwing their babies and doing sex magic orgies. And he throws the tablets down, which is a real badass move, because if you just watch God create those for you and you go down there, you're so mad and you destroy them. I mean, was he even thinking if he could have got some wrath on that? I don't know. But so that's the stories there. And if there's so many things, like at the Red Sea crossing, they found underwater horse bridles and chariot wheels. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me at this point that the Bible has our history in it. So if you're looking for wisdom, you can look, and there's thousands of chapters that'll explain to you about wisdom. Just like just like King Solomon was looking for. But a big one you should look at is Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And so the fear of the Lord means he's in charge of it all. Nothing can harm you or do anything to you unless he allows it. And if you make a good relationship with God, you have nothing to fear. That's it. God's wrath doesn't come to people that are being righteous. God's wrath comes to the people that are being wicked in a form of correction. And so, what's this last one? Oh, one of the blessings I have is I'm grateful for my cat, Sarah, because she's not this cat. And then saying that, mine showed up, but I don't think I'll be able to catch her. She's way too fast of a Black Panther. So, let us... Yeah, where'd she go? Somewhere. Running around. So I'm going to... I like to close out because I'm getting really tanked out here on my energy. And so Proverbs 3, which I believe they were written by Solomon, forget. He says, my son, forget not my law, but let thy heart keep thy commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck and write them upon the table of thine heart. So shall thou find favor and understanding, good understanding, in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not up unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. See, that's the part of the fear of the Lord. If you're doing evil and wicked acts, you're going to get wrath. That's the way nature, the system, whatever you want to call it, is set up. So he's asking you to be careful from that. It shall be thy own health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the fruit of all thy increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses burst out with new wine. See, if you're giving, you're going to receive. You want to call it part of the yin yang, you want to call it karma, you want to new age it, whatever you want, but it's the same system. If you give wholeheartedly from your heart, it'll be filled back in. The birds don't worry about where their next meal comes from. God supplies it. And if the hairs on your head are numbered, he's going to watch over you too. You just have to make that relationship and listen to him. My son, despise not the chasing of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he diligeth. The happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, or the gain of fine gold. Wisdom, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things you cannot desire are not compared unto her. Length of days are in her right hand, and her riches in her left, and honor. Her ways are of pleasantness, and her paths are of peace. She's a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. The Lord by wisdom has founded the earth, and by understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop the dew. My son, let them not depart from thine eyes, and keep sound wisdom and direction. So shall there be life unto thy soul, and grace unto thy neck. Then thou shalt walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. And while thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Why? Because God has you. I do a prayer every night that asks God to take me up in his arms, watch over me through the night, and by his grace, wake me in the morning, okay? And when thou liest down, you will not be afraid. You shall lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. And say not unto thy neighbor, Go, and come again. Tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done no harm. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the forward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. So, with that, I couldn't have said it better than King Solomon or whoever. Find your purpose in life. And the only way you're going to find the knowledge and wisdom that you want is to ask God. You can find it other ways, but they might not be correct for you. They might not be your correct path. You might surround yourself with people that are not helping you, or you're just on an incorrect path, and your life might be taking a different turn. And so if you have questions and you don't know how to get around things, ask God. Reach out to him. He says anybody that asks will be answered. Anybody that asks a righteous prayer that's within God's will and his laws will be answered. He gives out wisdom freely to those that ask. Now, you might ask something and maybe he doesn't tell you. Why? Maybe you shouldn't know that yet, right? A little kid doesn't need to know about how a gun works. You don't maybe need to know that information. Maybe it'll come to you later. If you ask for it and he says, all right, I got you. His timeline and yours is completely different. So don't get despaired. Don't get discouraged. Don't think that God's checked out and he's not there for you. Even if you're in a really sad, sorrowful time, or you're hurting, or you have family that are missing and hurting. God's right there, and that's what he's there for. And those are the moments that you're supposed to make your decisions, and you're supposed to reach out and ask for help. Because otherwise, he's just going to figure you can do it all on your own. And, maybe you can. Maybe you've done great for your life. Then again, maybe God cleared some paths for you and you didn't even realize it. So, that's all I think I have to say on this. For now, I always have more to say. Trust me, my wife knows. I ain't never run out of things to talk about.
That's very true.
So, well, I hope I hit some points. I hope I made some jokes that made people laugh. I hope we had a good time. I thank y'all for being here again. And God willing, we'll do it again. And so may the Lord bless all of you and watch over you during these times. And may he comfort us with his healing and with his love and with his forgiveness, and show us the way through these times. And I encourage everyone to do some type of celebration in the coming week. Even if you don't do a Passover. I think Passover starts, is it on the 5th? And they say it goes a week. But I encourage you to do it every day. When I'm making something or when I'm eating something, I'm always thanking God for that blessing. And so even if you don't do a service, somehow take some time, maybe a quiet moment, to think about some of the good things that are going right in your life, or the things that you've had that were good, or just think about your relationship with God and just give him a little private time. No phone, no sounds of any kind. Sit outside if you want, and or sit in a closet with the light off. Just give him some quality time and thank him, because whatever's coming, have no fear if God's with you. Ask him to do as he did back in the day. And whatever wrath might be coming, look for a Passover. Pass over and move on. Now that my voice is going, I think I'm going to call it a night. So with that, you get this.
Class is dismissed.
All right. Let's do this again soon. I love you. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate any of the donations that you've done. And there's links in the thing and whatever. So thanks again for being here. And God willing, let's do this again soon. All right. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Good night.